Hey loves, you know how I do. I'm ready to get started. So right now what I'm doing is just analyzing my client's hair, or in this case, my daughter. I've already sectioned out her perimeter because we're going to do a sew-in. And the outside, I'm actually going to do a special treatment. So I want you to stay tuned so you can see how I go about making certain that her leave out stays as straight as it can for as long as we need it. Now, right now, after I've blow dried her hair, and this is as straight as her hair gets with a regular blow dryer, I am now sectioning the section right around her part, her leave out. And I'm going to do a different technique. If you can see here, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to section these little pieces right around this part, and I'm going to put rubber bands there. Yes, rubber bands. I know people are so taboo about rubber bands, but they're harmless. I'm actually making small little boxes like this right here. And what that's going to do is that's actually going to create an anchor for me. And you'll be able to see it a little bit more in detail as I continue. But what that does also is it prevents the track or the weft of the hair from sliding. When someone's hair is really, really thick, a lot of times if you do a cornrow there, it ends up being really bulky because they have so much hair strands and it's so dense. But if you actually braid in the opposite direction, which is going down parallel to the face, then the hair, the weft itself slides. So instead of having a bulky braid or trying to braid separately and braid it going down and having my weft slide, I go in and I actually add those rubber bands. And honestly, the rubber bands are just at the base. I'm still going to go in, as you see here, and do a regular cornrow as usual. And so this is what I was speaking about when I said that the way you braid, if you braid it down like this, usually within about a week or two, the weft starts to slide away from the part. And then you have that gap there. And clients fight with trying to prevent it from gaping and being obvious when they're styling their hair. And as I said, if you braid a cornrow along the part, it ends up being really bulky, or you have to do it so small that as the sewing gets older, it becomes a nuisance to try to get out because that hair just kind of mats together and clients hate that. And I hate it myself because I have a few that actually come to me and have me remove their sewing. So this technique works best. You will not do this on every client, just those whose hair is really, really dense and you want to get a very flat surface right at the opening or the leave out. So, and if you can see here, I am literally just braiding down just as I would before. Now, some people actually do this with braiding hair, but again, her hair is so thick to add braiding hair, which is defeat the purpose. It would cause the cornrows themselves to be a lot thicker. I've tried using very, very small pieces of braiding hair at the base so that it didn't bulk up the actual braid, but then it didn't leave enough of a knot at the base of the braid for me to sit the weft on. So as you can see there, I'm just showing you, and this is just how thick her hair is. As small as I have it parted, it is still big, it's still bulky, but thankfully this is towards the back, so it's not going to matter as much. And my daughter's very simple. She didn't want to do a whole lot of curls or styles or things of that sort. So we're just going to wear it straight. Now I'm showing you the products that I use right before I add the net and start sewing. So of course I'm going to put this on her scalp to make sure her scalp is hydrated. And I believe this is just some coconut oil. Her hair is thicker, so I choose coconut oil for hers. And then I'm going to go in with that creamy African Pride. And I'm going to rub that all over her hair as well. And you want to make sure that you get everywhere, all in between. So I'm being sure to saturate these braids. Natural hair gets dry, and the netting and just day to day doesn't make it any better. So I want to make certain that I coat all of her braids. And that's what I'm doing here. So now I'm going in and I am actually going to apply this technique. And this is going to be to her leave out. So this is a way, I know some people do a relaxer, they do partials to their leave out. But when you're leaving this much hair out, you definitely don't want to relax it, because when you try to go back into your natural state, you won't be able to do so successfully. So this is the product. It's the basic one step. And usually you can get this from a local distributor. It is not a product that you can buy at a beauty supply store. So you do have to be a professional stylist to purchase this. And as you see, I pumped a very small amount. I'm just going to go ahead and run that through her hair. And what this is going to do is it's going to actually release her curl pattern. So it's going to allow her curl pattern to relax a little bit, so to speak. And when I say relax, I don't mean straight, but I mean not as tight. So she won't have to apply as much heat. She won't have to flat iron it as often. And the best part is when she does flat iron, it will stay straight for a longer period of time. So I'm going in at this top, and again, I'm using just a very small amount. A little bit goes a long way. And I'm combing through. I'm going to add a little bit product here, as you can see. I'm going to comb this from the scalp all the way out to her ends. And then I'm going to section out a little piece right above it and mesh it together. So as long as I can still feel product on my hand, I don't have to add another pump. This is just as needed. And that's what I'm doing here. So now I've done that entire section, her outside perimeter and her top. Now I'm actually adding a cap on because I'm going to sit her still for a little while. So not necessarily under the dryer, but just enough for the heat from her scalp to help it penetrate. So now I've taken the shower cap off and I'm going in with the blow dryer. So remember, this is hair that has been previously blow dried right after it was shampooed. And this was as straight as it got. Now I want you to see the difference now that I have applied this solution. And I want you to see how much straighter the hair actually gets just from blow drying. So this is prior to adding any heat from the flat iron. You're going to see a huge difference. So that side that you're looking at, which would be your right side, that is prior to. And then this other side that I'm doing, this is after applying the heat from the blow dryer. Look how straight that gets, you guys. I mean, other than being really soaked out, that's extremely straight. And that's the difference that this product makes. So now I'm just going to go ahead on and I'm going to add her cap. I bought this particular cap because it already kind of had a cutout. It wasn't deep enough, so I kind of went in and customized it myself. But it pretty much served the purpose that I needed for this particular style. So I'm just taking a little piece out of that bag so that it fits a lot more snug. And the hat itself was a little bit too big, the net I should say. So I'm just going in and I'm just clipping the excess off. This is after I have sewn the entire cap down. Okay, so I'm going in with my cheek. Y'all know I love this product, and I'm going to go ahead and rub this on the outside perimeter of the hair. I'm going to go ahead and flat iron these areas in advance. It just makes it a lot more easier once I install the weave to not have to pin the hair up and go underneath and have to do this process. So I'm going to go ahead and do this process first. That way, once I install, this area is already done, and then all I'll have to do is just her top and blend. So I don't do the top beforehand, but I do the outside and the perimeter. Now I'm being sure to take small sections. I want to make certain that I don't pass through the hair too many times. I just need enough for it to soak it out and for it to blend in case she decides to pull the ponytail up in a ponytail or do any type of styles like that. But again, a little goes a long way. Smaller sections means less passes you have to take with your flat iron. Okay, so now that that's done, I'm gonna go ahead in and start to add my wefts. These are 18 and a 20. She has a very small head, so because we were doing leave out, I did not do 3 bundles. I did just 2. Sometimes for her, it tends to look bulky to the scalp if I try to put too much hair in. Now this, I wanted to show, and I slowed it down, how flush you can get that weft when you're using this rubber band technique. I mean, like, it is literally as close as you would have gotten it if you were using glue. So I'm going to go in and show you some of the technique that I use. I know this is a little bit out of focus, but I'm taking the same weft that was on that other side, and I've just flipped it around to this side right here, and I'm getting up close and personal. And actually, believe it or not, there's enough room to lay one more weft there. If you can see, I can still see a little bit of her scalp and right above the rubber band, and I love that this lets you get just that close. But I wanted to show you this technique that I do before adding the final weft onto her hair. And so when I get close to the end, I start to go through the actual weft itself, and I tuck the thread. When I say tuck, I go up underneath and I pull out through a lower end. So instead of pulling out to the top, because of course you're gonna have to knot it, and I don't want the knot to be sticking out right at the beginning of her hairline. And here's a closer view. I actually tuck it. That's me going through. Once I pull it through, I go up underneath. And then I pull from the bottom, somewhere a lower part of the side of her head. If you can see, I'm gonna pull it taut. And this just prevents me from having to knot so close to the hairline. So I'm gonna go through again, because we also don't want that little flap that's usually there. You sometimes see girls and they comb it and you're like, her track is right there, I can see it. This prevents that. And again, I'm gonna put another row of track right above that. So now that I'm done with that, I'm just adding just a tad bit more chi, just rubbing it through there. And I'm also rubbing it on the outside of the wefts that the hair is going to be laying on, so that it'll help it to blend a lot more seamless. So again, I'm going in with small thin sections, and I'm just going to run my flat iron through. And the setting on my flat iron is still pretty high. It's still at 450. She definitely has hair that can withstand that. You're not going to use 450 on all your clients. So just those whose hair can withstand it. Or you yourself if you're doing this method for yourself. And again, I'm just going to soak that out and bring that right through. Now I'm being sure to leave a little bit of texture, a little bit of hump. I want it to look like it's coming out of the scalp, but not like it's just like slick to the head, if you can see there. And I'm going to do the same thing with the back and the other side. So once that's done, I'm just going to go ahead and comb the hair and blend, and you see how flawless that is. So what I'm doing now is just taking a few strands of her hair and both the weave and blending them together. And this is just more so around the face. We didn't layer anything around her face. Usually that's what I like to do, or maybe feather a little bit out of the face. But again, she just wanted really, really straight, really, really blunt. These are the products that I've used. That spray, I love it. It's great for the flyaways. And then I just use a little bit of chi holding spray. And this is the finished look. So again, very simple, not a whole lot to do. Very, very easy, light work. She loves it. I hope you guys do too. This is her before. And of course, this is her after. Don't forget, like, share, and subscribe.